Hey guys, what's up? It's Britt here. Today we're going to do Brittany's book review number 4. The book we'll be doing today is Fake by Robert Kiyosaki. The publisher of this book is Plata Publishing. My overall impression of this book was that it was absolutely amazing. This book is some really great information that I think everybody needs to hear, even if you may not want to hear it. My rating of this book is going to be 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. You killed it again, Robert. Nice job. A little statement about the author. Robert Kiyosaki's net worth is about $80 million. So this is who I like to learn from. He is definitely a huge mentor of mine. He has been for quite some time now. He is the author of the best-selling book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, as well as many others, such as these. These are just a few of the other books Robert Kiyosaki has written, as well as his groups. He works with a lot of other companies in the Rich Dad seminar, and these are some of his colleagues. I've read many of these myself, and they are amazing. You're going to want to check them out. Robert is a huge promoter of self-education as well as financial education. He really does not like that financial education is not taught in schools. I mean, it is kind of funny that we all use money, but yet money is never taught in schools to anybody. It's like the main thing you need to know in life, but Robert does not think this is an accident, that money is not taught in school. Robert likes to say, you can't fish in clear water. Meaning, you guys are the fish, you're being hunted, so that's why they do not want you to understand the game of money and what's actually going on with yours that you work for. That way, it is easy for them to steal it. I've actually been to some of the Rich Dad seminars myself. They're very powerful, very educational. You're going to want to bring a notebook. There's a lot to learn. Great stuff. I highly recommend going. Some details about the author's main points and the thesis of this book. This book was mainly about, well, real shit. Basically, you may see this beautiful, glorious world, this beautiful picture, and that's great. But a lot of it is fake. And there's a total opposite side of that same coin. And the really educated and the really successful are going to want to know that side, be able to understand both concepts and hold them in your mind at the same time. And that's how you're going to succeed. I really love that about Robert because I am definitely no novice to what's going on in the world and the realities. Sometimes they are very harsh and really hard to take in, but honestly, they're for your own good. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. You're going to have to grow up at some time and face it. Also, be sure to check out my conspiracy book review. It actually goes into some of these other details as well. They can all be tied hand in hand. That is Brittany's book review number 3. Alright, so before I get into a little details about the book, I am just going to throw out a little disclaimer. This book review might be a little more controversial than some of the other ones. Some of these things are not nice concepts. They can be kind of hard to hear. If you are very sensitive or you have a very strong belief system, maybe a closed mind, maybe if you're a total product of the system, you might not want to watch this video. It might not be the one for you. But hey, it's real shit. Alright, so this book really gets into the nitty-gritty of what's going on in the world. Basically, I don't know how to break this to you, but America is very corrupt. The corruption runs very deep, everywhere. You're going to see fake shit everywhere. It's going to look really good. It's going to sound really good. It's legal. It's all amongst you. I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't a bit concerning, but I feel we are better prepared to fight against this and to overcome when we know what's going on. So, you do know in 2013 the Canadian government came out and said that we have proof that aliens exist and we have had contact with them. Okay, that's great. So that is old news, nothing new at all. So, now that we know aliens are real, it would only make sense that there's multiple species of these, just like there are humans, animals, plants, and anything like it. Reptilians are a form of an alien. They are a demonic species he talks about. He says that they are the ones who control the elites. They are underground. They like to stay hidden. They are the puppeteers. Robert talks about disinformation in this book. Disinformation is information that is used basically to get an emotion out of people, to get them enraged, to get them emotional, angry. It's negative news, and the goal of it is basically to spike anger and a rise from people rather than spreading truth and information. Unfortunately, that gets a lot of attention, which brings revenue. So that is what's favored in the media. Robert Kiyosaki talks about a big gap in this book. Basically, we have a huge chart, as you can see here. The rich are continuing to get richer, and the poor and the middle class are getting poorer. The gap is widening very strong, and usually when that happens, bad things occur. Robert Kiyosaki talks about the upcoming market crash. He says that there's about a quadrillion-dollar disaster waiting to happen. That is how much debt we are in right now in America, so that should be fun. Hope you guys bought your silver and gold. Robert talks about the upcoming market crash, and he says that this will be going on because of fake money, fake assets, fake derivatives, and many more fake things that have been created by the elites. Robert Kiyosaki likes to do a lot of charts, so he'll do charts such as the one of money. So as we print more money, basically we make way more money, this is inflation, and then the value of the dollar goes down. So it looks something like this. For example, this $10,000, the rate we're going next year, this will be able to buy me like $6,000 worth of stuff. That's inflation. That's a market crash. That's how that works. So savers are losers, Robert likes to say. There's this picture of times that were similar to this, and then the market collapsed. And so there's kids in the street playing with all this money. And it's real money, what used to be, except it's fake money. It's just printed money, and then it just lost its value, and it's worthless. So these kids are just playing with tons, like sandcastles. It's so funny. But yeah, that's what it's looking like. Basically, the more money they print, the less the value of the dollar is. It's not as scarce. Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard in 1971. So ever since then, it's only valuable because we are saying it's valuable and still accepting it as so. But really, in the grand scheme, it's not on the gold standard. That means they could legally it's fake money, it's play money to them. So that's how they steal from the poor and the middle class and just get the rich richer. Corruption. America. Unfortunately, when the rules are being made and the laws and things like that, politicians, the elites don't even think of, mention, talk about, even glance at the poor and the middle class. And they don't do that in their speeches. They don't do that because then they would fear that it would bring attention to how bad it is, and then the people would really know how badly they've abandoned them. Children's prospects of earning more income than their parents has dropped from 90% to 50% in just 40 years. Wow. Something to think about. The game is rigged. It's not fluke. It's not the people's fault. Historically, when the gap between the rich and everyone else grows too wide, that's when revolutions occur. That's where we're at right now. This is my concern, says Robert. You cannot fish in clear water. Gold is the tears of God. It attracts wealth. So, for example, if you want $10,000 extra a month, you're going to want $10,000 worth of gold. You can have that. You can keep it elsewhere, of course, especially when you get a lot of gold. That's a very good idea. But that's kind of the rule. You want $5,000 extra? Get $5,000 worth of gold. Every paycheck, little by little, get a little gold. Speaking of fake and real things, here we have fake energy. Monster. It's synthetic. It tricks your body and your mind into thinking that you have energy and you're producing it, but it's really not. It's really not long lasting. It's really horrible for you. It's really just a trick. Chemicals really just to bring your heart rate up. An illusion. Fake. However, on the other hand, we have chia seeds, real energy that is natural, organic, vegan, long-lasting. This is the way to go, folks. Today, the elites are using the power of sophisticated evaluation, the law, and financial derivatives to steal the soul of the world today. For much of human existence, wealth has been stolen. Today, people without a real financial education are blind. They cannot see how their labor and their lives are being stolen via the money they work for. Again, you're going to remember to get gold. You are going to want to get gold. I know I might have said that a lot. I'm going to keep saying it because it's very important, so repetition is key. One word, get gold. Very key. Larceny is the wrongful taking and carrying away of goods of another from his or her possession with the intent to use them for the taker's use. The American education system, the most expensive education system in the world, is corrupt. The world's richest economy, the USA, continues to have the highest poverty rate among the 35 nations, with the exception of Mexico. I believe we're tied. So, something he mentioned you might want to look into is getting a public speaking certificate. That's really key. I've taken some public speaking classes. Those were very beneficial. I highly recommend it. You do not have personal freedom until you have financial freedom. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. I'm going to add in there good women, because women can do things too. Thank you, Robert. Robert talks about how a lot of people want to change the world today. Of course, naturally, the world's in a very critical state and a lot of people want to help that. Unfortunately, there's so much confusion and chaos with all the fake news. Today, news is designed to infuriate, not educate. Its goal is to polarize, not unite. The same is true in schools. Cash flow is as important as blood flow is to the human body. Imagine a doctor in an operating room and a patient was on the table just bleeding out, just blood gushing out, flowing from them all over the table, the floor, everywhere. The doctor looks at him and he says, "Yes, that is blood," and does nothing. That is what the academic elites are doing to our government and our people. Don't buy rare gold coins to start off with. This is a way basically to rip off beginners. It's a way to jack up the price of gold much above what it is currently valued. And they can easily do this saying that it's a rare gold coin. To learn more about buying gold and silver, be sure to check out D. Decker's YouTube. I've also just done a little unboxing video of gold myself, as well as I like to talk about gold and silver a lot in my videos. So be sure to follow both of those for some nice financial tips. We are $1.2 quadrillion in off-balance sheet derivatives. Yes, folks, that means debt. Rich Dad often said, "Grow up. The world will always be filled with greed, corruption, and incompetence." That is why a real financial education and a smart team are going to be your best protection against the real world. You need to protect yourself from smart crooks and incompetent bureaucrats. I wish I could say everyone I met and did business with was an incredible, smart, generous, honest, moral, law-abiding citizen of highest integrity, ethics, and morals. But I can't. Robert talks about Ponzi schemes and Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff was a guy. He kept raising money from investors. Unfortunately, he kept losing it as well. He didn't have the heart to tell the investors that he'd lost all their money, so he just continued to get more investors. Until, of course, he was $65 billion in debt of investors' money. Bernie Madoff should be running the U.S. government, the biggest Ponzi scheme in the world. Kind of like BitConnect. And Elizabeth Holmes with Theranos. In real life, simple apologies are better than lawsuits, and they're a lot less expensive. If more of us treated mistakes in a loving and compassionate way, I think we would have a more peaceful, prosperous, and intelligent world. Mistakes are the key to success. Thomas Edison reported failing 3,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Thank you, Edison. Persistence pays off. However, I still think Nikola Tesla actually invented that. Amazon's Jeff Bezos failed his off-brand shoe shop online before Amazon. The more a person avoids financial risk, the more financial risk they take. For most people, the fear of financial failure paralyzes them. It keeps them small, poor, and obedient. Just like fluoride, they often work at jobs that kill their spirit. A little more every day they go to work. A few turn to crime and violence in order to survive. When buying silver and gold, Robert has a few recommendations, some questions to ask the dealer to get some insight into if they're good or not, trustworthy. Here they are. 1. How long have you been selling silver and gold? 2. Why do you deal in silver and gold? 3. May I talk to 1 or 2 of your customers? 4. Do you recommend rare gold coins for beginners? 5. Where should I store my coins? And 6. What is the difference between 999 gold and 9999 gold? The dealer's answers should give you some insight into the wisdom, soul, experience, and just some good information about them. I personally like to get my silver and gold from AppMax or JM Bullion. They're online, so in the convenience of today's day and age, I like it. It's easy. They have a lot of great options. You know you're going to get trustworthy stuff. They're very reputable. And they deliver it right to your door. So, can't go wrong. You're also definitely going to want to watch out for salted gold. Salted gold, fake silver and gold. Basically, it's mixed with impure metals such as nickel or tin. You don't want that. So, as you may have noticed, I have changed outfits many times in this video. This is about my 4th to 5th time recording it. What happens is it just keeps getting deleted. The memory card goes corrupt after I record it, and so this has been going on for days and days and days. For example, that is grunge. This has never happened before in all of my videos, YouTube's book reviews, but this one specifically, fake, real shit, is just getting deleted. They don't want it out. So I have decided to go dark because this is more of a dark book, and I'm not very happy about this. Now I am very emo, and we shall continue. So he talks about power questions. Kind of like Tony Robbins, he doesn't call them power questions, but if you've seen my other book reviews, like number 1 with Tony Robbins, he goes in this as well. So some good questions you can ask yourself if you are in business with someone and you're a business partner. You can say, am I a good partner? This will help give you some insight and actually the answer. You can ask, what do I have to do to become a better partner? I've asked myself this question in my business relationship. Infinite returns increase your financial IQ. Today's typical American worker earns about $44,500 a year, not much more than the typical worker in 1979, adjusted for inflation. Nearly 80% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and they cannot afford a $400 medical emergency if they needed it. That honestly is very hard for me to read and very sad, because I do not think that is the people's fault. I think this is a trap and a game, and we are set up to fail. 80% of Americans, all these people went to school, got a good job, got a degree. They're hardworking people, you know, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. Many of them don't know when their next paycheck will be and how much it will be. It's very sad. Lack of education in schools leave people crippled in debt. They go to college, they come back, they can't get a job. They can't get a place. Even if they do get a job, it's probably not going to be one using their degree. And even if it is, it's usually going to be not that good of a job. Not what they were promised, not what they expected. And that leaves people living back at home until their 30s. It's really sad. It's really more common than it should be. Again, referring to the book called Critical Path, there's a quote in that book that states, "Because of my driving conviction that all of humanity is on the peril of extinction, if each one of us does not dare, now and henceforth, to tell the truth, always to tell the truth and all the truth, and to do so promptly, right now. Grunge is corruption. Grunge is everywhere, all over, every field, every type of job, every level. There is grunge, so you have to be aware of that. Grunge is the government, the system. You very well may be part of grunge, knowingly or unknowingly. Humanity is moving deeper into a crisis without precedent. Translation: in 1982, Fuller warned that the information age was coming. Grunge will lose its power in the information age. The crisis will grow worse because grunge will do anything to hold on to its power. Desperate people do desperate things. Fuller also stated the information age will usher the age of integrity. Grunge will be exposed. The crisis will accelerate due to grunge doing anything in its power to hold on to power. You can sense grunge holding on for dear life, its central banks being challenged by the people's money, such as Bitcoin and the blockchain. Another way grunge holds on to power is via a corrupted education system, a system without soul and void of real education. The number one skill of an entrepreneur is the ability to sell. Sales equal income. The reason people struggle financially is because they cannot sell. Robert talks about an excerpt in this book how we are all truly angels of God, and no matter how confused and what it may seem and all that surface level bullshit, that's really just the mind and people being confused and all these layers of being lost. But really, we are all angels, and I love that. That is how I believe, and that is the truth. Robert also talks about meditation and the power of that. He accredits a lot of his success to it. He does it every single morning and just thinks it's so amazingly powerful. He also talks about Ray Dalio and how he loves meditation as well. Ray Dalio is a huge investor as well, very successful, and he says that he equates all of his success, whatever that may be, to meditating. Ray Dalio says meditation is the single most important reason for whatever success I've had. Wow. Today, most people are cautious of the food they put in their body. But how many people are cautious of the information they put in their mind? Well, just as there are companies and people selling junk food, there are companies and people selling fake information, garbage information. Mainstream media, news, TV, that is all garbage, fake information. Basically, it's totally play on the humans to serve an agenda. They will tell you whatever, completely lies, manipulations, half-truths, only one side of the story to get you to act and think however they want you to. It's programmed. It's called manufactured consent. So you really have to be aware of that. What I do is I watch YouTube because YouTube, everyone can post on there. They are trying to censor it a little more now, unfortunately, because they see the world waking up, and that's grunge again. They're labeling it misinformation, but really, you're going to get a consensus of all people. It's a worldwide network. They can post freely, and it's not biased. Unlike the mainstream media, news, TV, that's basically all the different ones are run by like 6 corporations. That is not good. That's really bad. That is extreme exploitation. They basically sell you complete garbage, so you will act in a certain way to benefit their bottom line, and that usually is never the best interest for the people. Truly, unfortunately, it just doesn't work like that. Yeah. Good and bad are 2 sides of the same coin. For example, religion. Religion has so many wonderful benefits, right? It could help people with addiction issues, AA. So many people have been healed through religion. Church, people with loneliness, mental disorders, so many great, beautiful things. However, that reverse side of the coin, the most ugliest, sick things have been done in the name of religion. Terrorists, mass murders, wars, crimes, horrible things in the name of religion. Hate crimes. For example, people shooting up gays and like hating on gays. Very often that is in the name of religion. So The first test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. If we want more peace and prosperity in our lives, we need to train our brains to see both sides of the same coin. Only the paranoid survive in the world of accelerated acceleration. That's why Robert recommends spiritual education. He says your spirit is much more powerful than your mind. Illinois is dead last on the worst funded programs for their 401k. Number 50. It is absolutely horrible. That is why a 401k is a fake asset, for example. We like to call it around here a 401DK because all it does is decay. What they do is you work very hard for your money your whole life, adding all this into your 401k, of course, and they use it, they lose it, they steal it. Whoops, it's gone. It's 47.1% funded. Market crashes wipe out retirement funds. And today's working class is tomorrow's poverty in retirement. By the way, I do use a 401k. I'm not completely hating on it. There is just two sides of the same coin. A lot of bad can come with that as well, and you have to be very careful. I'm a very smart investor, so I know what I'm doing when it comes to that, and I don't put all my money in there. It's just one of my things. 70% of Americans hate what they do.
Come on!
Yikes. That's up from 62% just a few years ago. Some bad people he mentions that really hurt the world, and they knew of market crashes or they had a part in creating the market crash, and instead of saving the people and doing good for the world when they had the power, all they did was save the rich. They say they saved the economy, but that's not true. These people are Bill Clinton, Warren Buffett, Robert Rubin, Larry Summers, and more. Some bad banks in this category as well. Banks like too big to fail banks, such as Citibank, Wells Fargo, and Goldman Sachs. These are bad companies. They have had a lot of bad history, and he doesn't recommend doing business with them. They knew of and took part of the crash by creating fake assets and fake loans, just to screw the people over to benefit their bottom line. So like we just mentioned, some fake assets like a 401k, there are others such as IRA, government pensions, mutual funds, stocks, bonds, EFTs, which are electronic transfer funds, and savings. They are all derivatives. Mutual funds especially are a huge scam. Mutual fund investors put up 100% of the profits. They take 100% of the risk, but if there are any rewards, they get less than 20% of the profits. Those are not what I like to put my money into. Those are really bad odds. Ask yourself, what would God want done for the world? And that will help you decide on which way to go. The number one cause of bankruptcy is medical expenses. Grunch of Giants is a book written by Fuller. He mentions that book a lot. I really want to read it. Grunch stands for the Gross Universal Cash Heist. Robert recommends getting fake safes to hold some of your fake assets, such as you could put fake money in there, fake gold and silver, fake Rolexes, whatever you want. And you put that there just in case of a robbery. Have them take that one. And then you could put a real safe somewhere outside of the home in foreign countries, gold vault, or behind a wall, something like that. Have them take that. Market crashes make the rich richer, but they wipe out the poor and the middle class. Having a money manager is usually a really bad idea. Nobody cares about your money like you do. They don't care about making you richer or growing your portfolio like they say they do. They really just care about growing their own and making themselves richer. They do that in fees and more fees. NerdWallet's analysis finder found that from ages 45 to 65, the amount of fees increased from 12% to over 25%. Everyone talks about the benefits of compounding interest, but not too many people talk about the danger of compounding fees. If I started investing just $750 a month into my 401k that returned about 8%, I would be paying over $2.5 million in fees and hidden fees. They call your account an asset under management, not a return on investment for the client. They lie about their fees. However, I do have to say, I know a lot of people don't want to self-educate. They don't want to do the work themselves. They would just rather trust people. As a little disclaimer, if you are going to do that regardless, I would highly recommend getting a fiduciary over a broker or just some random hoe to be in charge of your money. A fiduciary is legally responsible to have your best interest at heart. Unlike a broker, they are free to just tell you whatever, and they do. There are many different kinds of fees. Some of these are a brokerage account fee, trade commission, mutual fund transaction fee, expense ratio, a sales load, a management or advisory fee, a 401k fee, and many more. There's a book called The Top 10 Reasons the Rich Go Broke. It's real reasons how the rich went completely broke by trusting financial advisors with their money. They were handling their retirements. They lost everything. Darn. Isn't that funny how that works out? On average is a lie for brokers. ROF is return on fees. Don't trust brokers. They suck. Tony Robbins says the same thing. You can hire an attorney or an accountant and it can save you millions. It can save you a college education. First, look into the fees, not the returns. If you have a retirement account or a government endorsed program such as an IRA or a 401k, you can ask brokers to work for less by shaving off their commission. So for example, if they want to work for 6%, you can get them to work for 3%. Robert doesn't recommend doing this. He does not do this. My personal recommendation is, I don't know. I mean, brokers suck pretty bad. Are they gonna suck more if you pay them less? Negotiation. Everything is negotiable. You might as well try. If you can get the same thing for less, that's business 101. However, I also think brokers suck and are, kind of con artists. So the question is, are they going to suck more if you pay them less because they're getting paid less? Or are they gonna suck just the same and you're just gonna save money paying a con artist to steal your money? I'm not sure. That's up to you. You can let me know in the comments below. You can let me know if you think this silver and gold and money is all fake or real. I would love to know your thoughts. For example, speaking of brokers and how awesome they are, Robert and Kim went to a seminar. Of course, they like to do these things. And then they met with a broker. And he was looking at their portfolio, assessing it. He sees all the real estate. He says, wow, you guys are really heavy in real estate. We're gonna have to take you out of there and we're gonna put that into the stock market. Robert and Kim were just cracking up. They're like, is this guy on crack? Doesn't he see the millions of dollars our real estate has made us? What? Is he joking? And then somebody goes, well, they're not making fees off your real estate. Oh yeah, duh. Sorry guys, this is the real world. This is grunge. People care about themselves and their wallet more than you. No matter how good they say it and how believable, how nice of a guy they may seem. You have to be aware of that. Robert likes to keep it super simple. KISS. This is also known by some as keep it simple stupid. An example of this is an asset puts money into your pocket while a liability takes money out of your pocket. So if somebody's telling you, and they will, that this is an asset, oh, this house is an asset, this car is an asset, going into debt, all this much money is an asset. They're actually lying, get it? It's a liability. Is it putting money into your pocket or is it taking money out of your pocket? If you buy a home and you're doing real estate and you have a renter in there renting from you, they're paying you, they're putting money into your pocket. But if you buy a home and you're living in there, it's taking money out of your pocket. You're paying every month to live there. So what they mean when they say it's an asset is it's an asset for them. It's not an asset for you, it's a liability. Robert thinks a net worth is worthless. Cash flow is where it's at. Time and now. Those who work for money pay the highest in taxes. Those who invest workers' money pay the lowest in taxes. There are 4 different quadrants. There is the self-employed quadrant. They pay 60% in taxes. There's a business owner quadrant. They pay 20% in taxes. And there is an investor quadrant. They pay 0% in taxes. You can refer to Robert Kiyosaki's other book, Cash Flow Quadrants. It goes into much more detail about this. This is an excellent book. I highly recommend it. I've read it myself. Keep on the lookout for this book review. It'll probably make you over $100 million in your lifetime if you listen and apply it. That is why education, jobs, and the system are all fake. There's no financial education. The ultra-rich, like John D. Rockefeller, control the schools. That is dirty water. They prey on them not knowing and not having a financial education. Because again, you can't fish in clear water. That is why you need to get a real financial education. When talking about the market crash or starting a business, you can ask yourself, what does God want done? And that's how you're going to help provide true value and really help the world and not just yourself. We've been in a secular bull market for about 70 years. It's been going up since 1944. Robert says, I suspect that secular bull market is about to come to an end because America used its financial authority to make the rich richer at the expense of the poor and middle class. This is the grunge that Fuller wrote about. We may be entering into a secular bear market, possibly the collapse of the US dollar, and a new global depression. As Rich Dad would say about economic change, the toilet will flush. That's shitty. They asked Robert, question, do you think the next crash will result in a new totalitarian government similar to resembling that of Nazi Germany in the 1930s and 1940s? Answer, yes. The word is fascism, a form of government run by bureaucrats. There is a big difference between business people and bureaucrats. Bureaucrats are fascists who make rules and expect everyone else to live by them. Most bureaucrats tend to be socialists and communists, not capitalists. Ayn Rand wrote about this in her book, Atlas Shrugged. A world where the economy is broken. A world where nothing works because bureaucrats now run the world. In response, the last remaining capitalists go into hiding, refusing to be exploited by non-producing bureaucratic parasites. It is information that make the rich richer, not money. There are 3 types of money. God's money, such as silver and gold, government money, such as the dollar, the peso, yen, the euro, and people's money, such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and blockchain, cryptocurrency. The difference between communism and capitalism is communism is based upon a centralized government, while capitalism is based upon centralized banks. Robert recommends keeping 10% of your wealth in real money, real silver, and real gold outside the electronic global banking system. Every morning, Robert does a miracle morning. He meditates for 30 minutes, does a 10-minute yoga session, reads a spiritual book, and journals, sharing his innermost thoughts to himself on paper. He talks about big dogs and fake big dogs. Big dogs are alpha males. Fake big dogs are wannabe alpha males. They usually have little dogs underneath them to help them feel better and heal their wounds when they get hurt. They are usually arrogant, pompous bullies. Spiritual health is real health. Robert recommends meditating daily, as that is real health. Doctors and medicine are fake health. Inner spirituality is real health. He recommends a book called A Second Opinion, a message to anyone who values their health. I have not read that book, but I definitely wrote it down and want to after reading this. It sounds great. He also recommends a book called Awareness, about waking up. The New Faith, The Obstacle is the Way, Tailspin, Big Potential and the Coddling of the American Mind. Many university students are learning to think in distorted ways. This increases their likelihood of becoming fragile, anxious, and depressed, and easily hurt. Violence, crime, terror, hate, murder, and things like that are the result of this. He also recommends a book called The Atlantic. K through 12 teachers have unknowingly been teaching students to act in ways that are commonly seen in patients who suffer from anxiety and depression. Robert talks about being brainwashed and how easy this can be done. I mean, if you look around, all these saints and terrorists, how people will die for an idea that wasn't even theirs. It's pretty crazy. You might know you're getting brainwashed if you start to feel really emotional over it, over what they're telling you. Then take a step back and think, am I being brainwashed? The rich do not pay taxes legally. Robert was in Iran. He was actually fighting in the war. He almost killed someone until his mom somehow stopped him and kind of like, who are you? What are you doing? And that's when he kind of realized and had an epiphany, plus with other things and knowledge, basically that whatever they tell you, it was a lie. He was in Iran killing for oil. Literally, that's what war is about. Killing people for oil. Which, by the way, we don't even need because we can have free energy. But since they can't put a meter on it and charge, they don't want it. So they kill the people who, of course, have that knowledge. It's pretty unfortunate. Eagles are capitalists and chickens are communists. Teamwork increases people's big potential. Business and investor people need bookkeepers, accountants, attorneys. 70% of people hate their job. Wow. Financial experts are a scam. Tony Robbins says this as well. He wrote a whole book about this, actually. A lot of the things I'm talking about here in Money, Master the Game. I've read that book. I'll do a book review on that coming up. Stay tuned. Options are a way to gain leverage. Debt in business, paper assets, and real estate. Judas is evil. It's that dark, negative little voice in your head saying, you're not good enough, you can't do it, you failed before, blah, blah, blah. You can shut him up in silence through meditating, God, nature, journaling. Silence him. To pay less in taxes or avoid paying them, you can invest in things the government wants you to invest in. I study many people, highly successful people, as well as politics, and to me it's very obvious that there's a huge upcoming market crash, and it's best to prepare for that. I still believe in miracles and that miracles could happen, and maybe there won't be a market crash, but I do believe that would be a miracle if there wasn't, so buckle your seatbelt. Final assessment, I thought this book was amazing, very sobering, very true. Recommendations, I highly recommend it. I definitely think you guys should get it. If not, watch this video absolutely, or be sure to contact me for the best Cliff Notes in town. Also, just a few more statistics I've recently learned. Over 75% of people that went to college to get degrees do not use them. They do not use them and they get jobs completely different. Of those 25% of people who do use their college degree, over 50% of them hate the job that they get. Students enter into some of the best schools, and within 3 years of learning information, it's already obsolete. We are trillions of dollars in debt due to student loans. College has gone up 8 times, while wages have stayed stagnant. Alright, you guys, that's it for today. Be sure to let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you think of the economy? Have you heard this before? What do you think of silver, gold, money? Do you think there's going to be a market crash? And also, if there's anything you disagree with, do you think Robert's crazy? I would love to know your thoughts. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video if you think others can benefit from this knowledge, and click the bell notification to be notified of my new videos that I drop. I do a book review once a week and other videos as well. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Get correct.